Oh, I forgot. I wanted to update. So I posted, I think, 3 videos of a street fight that happened. I should describe what happened, okay? I just posted the videos. It says like street fight in LA, part 1, part 2, and part 3. So I'm gonna describe what happened based on my memory. So I was serving paperwork at the federal building at 300 North Los Angeles in downtown LA. And I had a process server doing it. So he was inside the building and I was just outside waiting. And across the street is a park. And there was this bench that was open and available. So I went and sat down on it. And there was a couple of thug guys around there, right? Kind of like, just thug looking people. And when I sat down, the first guy comes up to me and he's like, "You can't sit there." And I was like, "Well, why not? I mean, nobody else was around." Or nobody was sitting there. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. There was 4 other people, but they were off on the other side. Anyway, he walks up to me and says, "You can't sit here." I was like, No, it's cool. I'm not only going to be here for a few minutes. Just sitting down in the shade. And he walks up going like that. And that's the first video. Then, as I'm talking to him, and he's like telling me I gotta go, and then I just wanted to sit down and relax, And, oh, by the way, I'm gonna show you. Those are injuries from that. I don't know if you can see my foot. Both feet. Boom. Look how swollen my hand is. And then, yeah, dude, pain. So this one guy's telling me you can't sit here. And I was like, well, why not? Nobody else is sitting here. And this other guy comes over and he grabs my backpack and the backpack of the guy who was in the federal building. And he just starts walking off with it. And at first I thought he was stealing it. So I pulled out my camera, started videotaping again. And then he comes walking back and he's got his camera, and this is video 2. And he kind of acted like he was walking past me. So I had my camera out. I didn't expect him. All of a sudden, he just swung his hand and hit my camera out of my hand. And then he started just swinging, coming at me. And I was not expecting it at all. I mean, usually when you pull out your camera to videotape someone, they back away because they know, okay, that guy has any type of evidence of anything that might happen. It's documentation, proof. If the police are called out, you show them the video, et cetera, et cetera. So I was kind of surprised that he just would jump me like that. So what I did is I shot in for us. I think I surprised him because the guy is a good 40 pounds heavier than me at least. He was probably about 6'2" and 235 to 250 pounds. I'm 5'8" and 170 to 190, maybe 185, let's just say. And that's because I'm overweight. So then, he suddenly just starts swinging. And I remember I was blocking at first, and then I noticed he was close enough that I could just grab his leg. So I basically tackled him. It would have been called a really sloppy double leg takedown. So now I'm on top of him, right? And my idea was I'll just take him down and then I'll get up and grab my phone and go. But as I'm trying to get up, he reaches up and holds on to me. Okay? And you can hear in the video I'm saying, "Let me up. Let me up." Well, this phone was on the ground face down, I think, so you couldn't see anything. All you could do is hear the audio. So he's holding I actually had a cut on my neck from him because he was holding me down with his hands up on my neck. Anyway, so I was on top of him and I was like, "Let me go." And then, and you can hear that in the video. At the same time, around that time, now all this is happening really fast too. So I don't fully know everything that happened or how it happened. But at one point, the black guy who had his finger out came over and started saying, "You just assaulted a resident." And meanwhile, I'm struggling with this guy, and I got this other guy here. Next thing I realize, there's somebody else over here. And next thing I realized, like, I'm in a fight with this guy, but there's other people around. And the one guy was like accusing me of that I assaulted him. Anyway, so I'm going to explain all that later. So then he wouldn't let me get up to walk away. So I put my hand on his throat and I started squeezing his throat. And then he turned over to his side and my phone was laying on the ground right there. And he grabbed my phone. So now I'm behind him. He's on the ground. And then we start wrestling for my phone. And I had two hands. I was trying to pry his hands off my phone. He had two hands on my phone. And I had two hands trying to pry his hands off. And I remember I had a hold of his thumb and I was twisting it back. But he had two hands. And he was actually much stronger than me. And then so I let go of trying to get the phone. And I went straight to go for a rear choke. But the problem is I could only get around his chin. So he kept fighting. Then I'm behind him and he starts to stand up. So what I did is I put the legs in and flattened him out. And I can't... If you're a wrestler, you know what I'm talking about when I say I put the legs in. When he turned to his side, I put my right leg in, wrapped it around his right leg. And then I was wrestling for the phone. And then when I realized I wasn't going to be able to get the phone out of his hand, I stopped and went to try to get a choke. And then when I realized I didn't have his neck, I only had his chin, he started to stand up. And that's when I stepped over and put my left leg in. And now I got two legs around him. Basically, my feet were right around where his crotch would be. Both my feet on each side. It's a basic wrestling. And then I still had his head in a figure four with my arms. But I didn't have a chokehold. So what I did is I started to crank. I was telling him, let me have my phone back. So I cranked his head and did what's called a head crank. And what that is where you twist their head. And if you go like this to your head to about right there, okay, that's where you say, okay, stop. Anyways, he dropped the phone like right away. As soon as he let go of my phone, I grabbed it and got up. So I got my phone back. Then we were standing there, we're kind of face to face, and he turns around, walks away, goes straight to my bags again, picks them up, and starts walking. My backpack, or it wasn't my backpack, it was the guy I was waiting for in the federal building. Then he walks to the other side of the, and I'm following him saying, bro, and I had all my stuff. The backpack he had belonged to to my buddy who was process serving. So I'm like, that's not even my stuff. I'm like, dude, and so I went over and then when I went to get my stuff, I didn't expect him to start again fighting with me because I just schooled him really bad. But I definitely didn't want to get into it anymore. I mean, my feet were all messed up. I'm not in good condition. I was breathing so hard. I was like out of shape. You guys okay?
Actually, she needs some help with her vehicle.
Okay, I'm shooting a video. I'll be done in a moment.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Her battery died and she has jumper.
I don't have anything that I can help you. You might want to ask somebody else. Anyway, so then I don't know where I was. Just a bunch of people just came walking up and were staring at me. And I'm like, what are you staring at? I would help them if I could. Then what happened? I don't know. Where was I? So yeah, if you watch the videos, the 3 videos I posted, that kind of explains what was going on. But after the third video is when he walked to the other side of the park and dropped the backpack. And I was just like right there when he turned around and he came at me again. And I remember at that point, I was just like, I'm out of here. I grabbed that backpack and I ran. and I don't like having to run. And if I had I'm wearing the same shoes I had on that day. If I had worn actual shoes and long pants, oh yeah, here's my knees, by the way. Look at my knees. That's from the fight. And the reason my knees are so messed up is when you put the legs in, my knees were on the ground, basically supporting his whole body weight. If you understand how that works in wrestling or jiu-jitsu. I've never done jiu-jitsu, but the only reason I knew about the head crank is because I saw Joe Rogan talking about it on about how Conor McGregor got submitted by Khabib, and I never would have thought to crank the guy's head when I realized I didn't have the choke. So good thing I happened to watch that video of Joe Rogan so many years ago. So anyway, so what happened next is I ran away and got out of there. And then the next day I was in so much pain, like my back ached, and I had like my lungs felt like I had, you know, when you haven't exercised in a long time. I mean, it was a real match. It was a real match, and I was out of breath. But if I had wore shoes that day instead of sandals, and if I had pants on, I wouldn't have had any of these injuries except for to my hand here. I don't know if you can see that. So then, it's not over. About an hour later, he was on the Metro A train, the same guy. And not just on the Metro train, but he got on at Union Station, and I remember looking at him thinking, that's the guy. But he was wearing sunglasses, so I wasn't 100% sure. And I thought, and he only sat like a little ways away. So, and this was over an hour later. So I knew, I kind of thought he was following me. So I got off at a different exit, mostly because I had to another process serve at another location, and I was with the guy who was my process server. So then, so there's more to it though. It turns out that guy was most likely a drug dealer, one. Two, if I hadn't shot video of him, I shot video of him because I thought it would deter him and make him go away. But he was actually trying to steal my phone because there was evidence, whatever evidence that was, he didn't want me to have a video of him. So he followed me on the A train. I think he was going to attack me and try to take my phone again. I don't know. But I do know that, I don't know. Then I went to file a police report, and the police are like, we don't see any damage on your face. And I'm like, I showed them this. But, so I went back there 2 days later. So that happened I want to say it happened on the 17th. Yeah, it was the 17th that happened. And then on the 18th, all I did was take Tylenol all day. Oh my God, I'm so out of shape. It sucks getting old, dude. Plus my hip, I got a bad hip, and it feels like it got dislocated again. Oh my God. Like, getting old sucks. Like, I still think in my mind I'm young, so like I'm ready to wrestle, you know? And then after the match, I'm like, damn, it's painful, dude. So it's a humbling experience realizing that I can't really, like it used to be, if anybody bullied me, I'd be like, just leave me alone. And if they continue to bully me, it's like, come on, bring it. Now I'm like, okay, you can leave me alone, don't hurt me. But, so I went back there yesterday on the 19th, and somebody might say, are you stupid or something? You got drug dealing gangbangers over there? Well, I dressed different. I wore pants. I had shoes on, so I was ready. I had pants on, and then I wore my hat on sideways and sunglasses, so you wouldn't really know it was me. But I went back there, and there was a bunch of drug addicts all sitting around looking for their dealer, and the dealer wasn't there. And if he had been there, I filed a police report, and I was going to just call 911 and have them come and at least make an arrest or whatever. But he wasn't there, and I have a picture. I took a picture. There was a bunch of drug addicts all sitting around, like waiting for their dealer to show up. And I think that's why he wanted my phone, is so that he wouldn't have to flee. But yeah, so basically I just got into an actual physical fight with a drug dealer in downtown LA.